Okay. What's poppin', people? How we living? How we feeling? It is a Sunday night where you guys are, and as Badake had mentioned earlier, it's Memorial Day weekend, isn't it?
It is Memorial Day weekend, so people might be doing things. I don't know. I don't know what you got. I don't know about you, but Memorial Day was a time to hang out with family and barbecuing, because it's like the first kind of like weekend of like summer. You go do some stuff outside, at least in New York, right?
Sure.
But yeah.
What's up, Nasty? What's up, Office Depot? Yeah, the Jimmy contract is spicy for sure. Clint, yes, if you have used Mason's code, that's awesome. Like, he has some really great perks, but you've unlocked Mason's perks on the Discord, not ours. You can DM us. I mean, we've got people who signed up to multiple supporters, but you're absolutely under no obligation to do so. What's up, Gator? Nick Sick Nasty says, why does it take so long? Just calm down, baby. Calm down. Okay? This microwave generation, you guys want everything right now. Right now, it needs to be. Just calm down,
right
baby.
here,
We're
right
gonna
now,
get there, okay? Let's relax. Let's have a good time together, okay? Everything in good time. What's up, Peter? Welcome in. What's up, Marvin? We see you. What's up, Gator? Welcome in, my man.
How we feeling?
We see you out there, BX. What's up, brother? Okay, guys, so today we are going to be grading some of your Dynasty teams. Really excited to have you guys on today's stream. I'm going to be looking at a lot of your teams, talking about strategies, things that you can do differently to put your team in a better position. Any buy lows, sell highs on your team. We'll be looking at those together. We see you. What's up, BX? What's up, MP? Work's been crazy. What's up, Ja? What's up, Vorarder? I'm saying that wrong for sure. What's up, James? If we all we got right now, what then?
We got.
That's right. Marvin, thank you so much for the super chat, man. We'll get to that here before we get into these teams. Excuse me, 10 team. I'm guessing that's Superflex PPR. What's SPPR? Am I misreading that? 10 team Superflex PPR, maybe?
Yeah.
Clarify for us.
A regular PPR, I'm assuming. But
Pacheco, 24 second, 225 seconds for a top 3 first in 2025. I mean, look, if that's actually a top 3 first in 2025, then to me it's no brainer. Yeah, but that's really hard to predict 2 years from now. You know, like I would be, yeah. So it is Superflex. I would be really hesitant to predict those picks 2 full years from now. You know, things can change so quickly, but if it were indeed to be a top 3 pick, then I think Badake and I both would say, yeah, no brainer to take the first. But okay, we're going to look at some of your teams, give some strategy, talk about some things that you could potentially do. But just before we get to that, if you guys do want your teams reviewed by Badake and myself, everyone who signs up with our code on Flock Fantasy and signs up to the Mother Flocker tier, one of your perks is having one of your teams reviewed. So you unlock our entire text channel, right? You go to Flock Fantasy. So not only when you use our code, you get all of our rankings, Superflex, 1 quarterback, best ball, soon to be redraft. You get everyone's bonus videos, draft guides, databases. You get everyone's articles, not only from us, but from the community. You can submit your own articles. You get all of that from everyone, regardless of what code you use. You can use ours, which is LAND, LAND, for 30% off. But if you choose our code and you choose the Mother Flocker tier, you're also going to unlock a bunch of things in our Discord. One of those is the roster submissions tab, where everyone has one of their Dynasty teams that we grade and we kind of give advice on a weekly stream here on Sunday nights. Not do you only unlock that, but you'll also unlock the Fantasy Hotline, which is going to end up being a direct line for advice. You can see we're messaging Rab over here. So yeah, it's literally a direct line where you can ask us advice at any moment. And then you also unlock the Dynasty Trade Show, where you can have your trades on our show. So the first team that we're going to be looking at is from WildMurder. And there's a lot of context here, which we'll read. I wonder if he's got a sleeper ID. I think I found it here.
Yeah. You could have one.
So I found that sleeper ID. Let's go ahead and pop that bad boy in. But WildMurder, so I've been debating if I want to use my roster review on this team, but that's because I have a plan of full tank and make my pick be the 102/103.
Right.
This is a 12-team start 8. Unfortunately, has a kicker and a defense, but full PPR with 0.3 tight end premium and 0.5 RB premium. I personally don't think I can compete with this team, and I've sold 25 capital for Dotson. I have the 24 first from the lowest ranked team as well. Our consolation bracket winner gets the 101, so I can tank, make sure I get the 102, and make a push for the 101 in the consolation bracket.
Wow.
The other guy, the other first will easily be the 103 or 102. My sleeper ID, we've got that. He says, my team name is looking for 24 first. I traded the 106 Pitts, Lockett, Jones for Amon-Ra, as I'm just low on the Falcons offense in my league. Is all even lower on him, unfortunately. I'd shopped him for months. No one offered as much as a second for Kyle Pitts. Ooh, we're going to have to talk about that one. Again, fair trades barely exist in our leagues, as everyone wants to fleece deal, and there's no clear team with a stacked roster. So curious if I should set my taxi with JSN, Gibbs, Sharp, and Amon-Ra in full tank, or try to compete and make a deal or two. Let's just talk about that first deal. I think this is something that I have noticed over the years of playing Dynasty that can put you in a hole really quickly. If people in your league do not value a player and aren't willing to pay the proper price, you shouldn't be willing to bend to sell that player on the low. For example, we got the 10. He says he traded the 106 Pitts, Lockett, and I'm assuming Aaron Jones for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably worth the 106, unless this is a one quarterback league, which it is.
It's a one quarterback league, yes.
But regardless, that is, to me, even in a one quarterback league, that's a really low sell of Kyle Pitts. So yeah, I mean, if everyone in your league doesn't value a player, to me, if I don't have that player, that means I'm going to go buy him, not sell him, you know?
Right.
That would be an ultimate hold for me. And I know it's too late, but just for anyone watching and for WildMurder, if he's out there, if there's other positions in your league or other players in your league that people just don't value, then you can't be trading away Kyle Pitts for that low. Yes, Amon-Ra is worth more than the 106. I said if that's super flex. It's one quarterback, but still, even in one quarterback, the 106 and Kyle Pitts and Tyler Lockett and Aaron Jones, that is too much for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And we love Amon-Ra. But, yeah, you just can't overpay just because the league doesn't see the value. The value's there. Your league just doesn't see it. You know, I think that's just the first thing we should talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. Don't overpay for people just because you want them. You have to play within your means. You know, it's just like any NFL team. Like, think of it that way. Like, no one's gonna give up. I mean, we've seen it before, and look what happens, right? We've seen somebody give up all their picks to get a player, and didn't really turn out the way it was supposed to. So you gotta think of the same thing in fantasy.
Yeah.
So don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's just for anyone out there. Like, if a position in your league is undervalued, you should be buying, not selling. You know.
Yeah, and use the hotline for sure. Like, we can definitely help you in that
Absolutely.
area. I'm assuming maybe that trade was done before you got the hotline or whatever the case may be. But that's why we have the hotline. That's why we're there to help you, to kind of guide you in that moment, because we definitely would have told you not to do that trade.
Sure.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay, so we've got this league, which is called Lick My Footballs. And he said his team name is Looking for 24 First. So why don't we just go ahead and make our videos a little bit smaller so we can see more of the screen here.
Yeah.
So you've got Deshaun Watson, one quarterback, that's more than fine. You've got Jameer Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Jerome Ford, Ezekiel Elliott. We'll definitely be talking about that running back room here in a second. Your wide receivers, we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN, Treylon Burks, Jahan Dotson, Elijah Moore. And our tight ends, we've got Chig, Luke, and Tucker. So here's what I'm a little bit confused about, though, is we mentioned that we're not sure if we can compete, but we sent all those pieces away for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Just for the one player. And it really actually hurt your team when you look at it, because what was it? Kyle Pitts, you had Aaron Jones. If you were a win now,
Tyler Lockett,
you were trying to compete, Tyler Lockett, all those guys would have helped you. And then if you were saying you were trying to move in for a 24 first, you would have been fine, because you have 2 already right now, 24. You still have a young Kyle Pitts. It's just very interesting that that was the case, because if you had the 106 in a startup, you could have gotten maybe, well, what's a 106 in a startup? That is probably what a Jordan Addison, if I'm not mistaken, or a Quentin, or a Zay.
106 and one quarterback, yeah.
I still would have been just as happy with that, and just waiting for the team to develop.
It would be Bijan, JSN, Gibbs, or whatever order you guys would have it in. Then it would be Quentin, Addison, so probably Zay Flowers. So essentially what you could have had on this team would have been Zay Flowers, Aaron Jones, Tyler Lockett, Kyle Pitts. But instead we have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And look, Amon-Ra St. Brown is more valuable in one quarterback than he is in a well, as far as like picks, like what picks are worth in rookie drafts. He's worth a higher pick in this format. But still,
Yeah.
I don't think that trade really helped us. And you're saying that we are wanting to rebuild, but we only have 2 firsts next year, right? And we don't have any of our picks in 2025. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. And this is what's going to be very difficult as well on this team. I mean, you can definitely, like, you're in a weird place right now because you have the pieces, in my opinion, to compete, but at the same time, there are a little bit of holes
I don't
in
see
it.
this team competing personally. I'll just
And
say that.
the only reason why I say I think this team can compete is because of how strong the wide receiver room is, how high we kind of see Jameer Gibbs go, and then Deshaun Watson, because you were at that point where I felt really comfortable, but now it's more a little bit shaky. Depending on the advice we give you, if you would have told me you wanted to compete with Deshaun, Jameer Gibbs, Aaron Jones, still having Jackson Smith, Treylon Burks, Jahan Dotson, Elijah Moore with Kyle Pitts, we would be like, bro, you're chilling. So
Yeah.
now this is a little bit more difficult.
Well, here's what I'll say. I don't think this team is ready to compete because it's a lot of projecting. We're projecting that Chig will be that top 12 tight end. We're projecting JSN, Burks, Dotson, Elijah Moore all will take up a step this year. That doesn't mean it will happen. We're projecting what Jameer Gibbs will be. I feel good about him, but still outside of that, it's not like there's a running back on this team that if you're competing, you feel good about, in my personal opinion. So look, I don't think that currently constructed you have enough to move these picks and seriously compete with, let's see what this team at the top looks like. Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, CMC, Pollard, Eckler, Smith, Tyreek, Calvin Ridley, Mark Andrews. Like, you're not competing with that team, if we're honest.
That's a team that you just made a lot stronger as well with Aaron Jones, Kyle Pitts.
Well,
Team one, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that team didn't have Kyle Pitts.
Sorry, I guess I'm looking at players only. You're looking at full team and picks.
Sure.
Sorry.
The second team here, WWW, we got, enough quarterbacks. Ramondre, you could say their running back room is weak, but their wide receiver and tight end room is very strong. Yeah, I just don't think you're really competing with these players. I mean, Team 4 has Pat Mahomes, Bijan Robinson, Saquon, Swift, Pacheco, Kupp, McLaurin, Amari Cooper. Like, your team is not competing, and I think that's obvious. So I guess the best thing you could really do is what he mentioned. He said, should I put JSN, Gibbs, Charbonnet, all these guys on my taxi squad? Who else did he add to that? JSN, Sharbs, and Amon-Ra. So he can even put Amon-Ra in this league on the taxi squad. You wouldn't be able to do that in our format, but if you can in your format, then yeah, I would suggest doing that because I don't see a scenario in which you're competing. And if we do move these picks, again, you're not like one or two pieces away from me. And we don't have enough to just go all in and really bet that this team is going to end up winning the championship. So if it were me, I would, if you can legally and ethically tank in your league, like you mentioned, putting it on the taxi squad, then I would say go for it. We can't reverse time and undo that other deal because you would have put yourself in a little bit of a better spot. But outside of that, I mean, you're going to have to really, I think that's the strategy you have to go because you don't have any picks in 2025. You have to tank this year and then absolutely milk the most value out of these 24 picks in 2024 and then try and build your team from there because you don't have any picks in 2025. So, yeah.
I hear you. So then full tank. So if you're tanking, you're not really even selling anyone too because you're not going to sell Gibbs.
No one here is a sell high.
You can't sell if you want, you can, but I don't think you should. You're not going to sell Gibbs. You're not going to sell Sharby. You're not going to sell any of your wide receivers. I would say from Josh down up. And you're not going to move Deshaun Watson unless you want to pivot in a different way, get a Trevor Lawrence or whatever the case may be. But I don't think it's that big of a move. This is just full tank. And if there's a deal that's out there that is great, then, once again, use your hotline. We'll help you. But at the moment, I don't think there's much that we can really do here.
Here's what I would suggest.
Am I wrong? I mean, go ahead.
Here's what I would suggest. And honestly, I think the only point of us being live and telling you guys our opinions is to be as honest as possible. I think that deal put us in a really tough spot, personally. If I heard that deal and I assumed that the rest of the team was, a little bit more put together, then maybe we could, make sense of it. But I think that deal really puts you in a tough spot. Here's what I would suggest. Again, I personally do not see a scenario in which those 2 first-round picks that you have in 2024, you can negotiate your way into competing with these top teams that are deep at almost every position. Yeah. I don't see a way that you're doing that. So if you can put all those players on your taxi squad that you mentioned and then end up making your own 24 first, which your team name is looking for 24 first. So you have your own, and then you have the Gingerbread Boys pick. So if you can put yourself in a position where you are just one of the worst teams, and then you get to the playoffs and you try and compete for that 101, that would be my advice. I don't think you have another card to play, really. I don't think there is another card to play here. There's 2 names that I was going to point out that you could look at selling high. I'm not saying you need to, but Jameer Gibbs, if you, like in this format, 8, is it start 8, correct?
Start 8, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, start 8, and then you have a kicker and a defense. In this format, you should be able to get more than just like 2 first-round picks for Jameer Gibbs, in my opinion. Especially considering that you mentioned it's 0.5 premium for the position. So not only are our running backs getting 1 PPR, they're getting 1.5 points per reception. So Jameer Gibbs, in theory, should be able to get you like 3 first-round picks plus. That's where I would start. And I would suggest any trades that you get sent to you, you can put Gibbs on the block, see what happens. Any trades that you get sent to you, you can feel free to send screenshots to us in your fantasy hotline. We'd be happy to offer some advice on if that deal makes sense or not. I was going to say you could look at moving Amon-Ra, but it almost feels counterintuitive now that we've made that deal. It doesn't feel right to do that because I don't think you're going to get the same value, but I could be wrong.
I mean, if Amon-Ra costs that much and somebody else is willing to pay it, and you already cut your losses, like you're not going to get someone, Kyle Pitts alone was worth a first. And Amon-Ra alone was worth a first. So that's 2 firsts right there. So if you can get 2 firsts back, I'll be interested in. Personally, like you're not going to get a caliber player in Dynasty at the tight end position. Yeah. Unless you can buy Kyle Pitts back.
By the way, I just realized as well, which doesn't help the case. There's a premium for tight ends. There's not for wide receivers in this format. Yeah, it's 0.3, so you get 1.3 points per reception. Wide receivers are still at 1 PPR. Look, all I would suggest is do everything you can to put yourself in a position in 2024. Like, even in 2024, I think you'll be in a spot where you'll be like, okay, do I now have enough to actually compete with this team? Or do I need to completely blow it up? Like, you'll be in a better spot in 2024 if you do make these first-round picks as valuable as possible, and then you'll have a chance to really navigate the actual direction you want. Hey, if I add whatever player, Marvin Harrison Jr., then yeah, this team is strong enough to get to a spot. If that is Raheem Sanders and Marvin Harrison Jr., we're in a good spot. We can figure this one out. But right now, I just looking at this league, I don't see a scenario in which you're actually competing. So I would try and make those firsts as valuable as possible. I wouldn't be opposed to selling Gibbs if the absolutely right offer comes up. Just thinking off the top of my head, let's say someone offers you, let's say someone is low on Najee Harris and they give you Najee Harris in like 2 firsts and 2 seconds or something, like something ridiculous like that, but just put them on the block. Let's see what will happen. And then you can send us, what offers you have. So
exactly.
That would be my advice. And then the other first that he has is from the Gingerbread Boys, which
is looking decent.
No, I would say that this team is competing for a top pick. Bryce Young, Trey Lance, Matt Stafford, it's not like we have a clear answer year one, like right now, who's going to start. And then outside of Najee and Joe Mixon and CeeDee Lamb, it's like, well, we're going to have to start Bateman, Mingo, Evans. Right. So I guess it's still a pretty good team, but
I guess it all depends on.
It doesn't rank up against those top ones.
Yeah, maybe he thinks he's going to compete because according to this, he can put a Monra on his. He can put a Monra on his taxi, so he's not going to put anyone on his taxi here unless it's like Trey Lance or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I think it's unfortunate. I mean, just to be completely honest, unfortunate that he did that trade. I really wish that didn't happen because I think we would have helped you in a, I guess, in a better direction than rather just saying, "Sorry, man, you know, we just don't see that pathway anymore." But yeah. I think there's good pieces, good foundational pieces, no doubt. Amon-Ra, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, you know, Burks, Dotson, Elijah Moore. I think Josh Downs is also a good piece in the future, without a doubt. So I think the foundational pieces as you're in your wide receiver is phenomenal. So don't be discouraged maybe by what we're saying, but like still see the bright side in that as well. Because I think like Jahmyr Gibbs as well, like a phenomenal guy. I mean, top 12 capital. So.
Yeah, it's just important to realize that, guys, if we were to come on this stream and just tell everyone, hey, all the deals that you made are great, you're doing great, and like you're fine, then there wouldn't be a point of really having this stream. So it's best for us to be as honest as possible. We wouldn't have done that deal. I think it put you in a tougher position, especially considering that tight ends do have a premium, wide receivers don't. I just think it was a little bit too much of a price. What I would have preferred to have done would have been kept that 106, see what have fallen to me, kept Kyle Pitts, and then what can I get for Aaron Jones and Tyler Lockett individually or in a package? Because then I can still make that plan that I had, but I don't have a Monra on my team giving me points, and I can put myself in a position where that pick is definitely in a better spot. So that would have been the route I would have taken, but at the moment, again, there's no... Outside of Gibbs, like Watson's not going to get you, he's not going to make a difference in a one quarterback in the trade. Outside of Gibbs and outside of Amon-Ra, I don't want to sell JSN, Burks, Dotson, Elijah. I think they're all Chig. I don't want to sell these guys. You can look at deals for Jahmyr and Amon-Ra. Outside of that, I think follow your gut when you mentioned tanking and trying to get the best pick for next year. But yeah, I mean, I'll just say as well, like we say to everyone who's with us on the Mother Flocker tier, utilize your hotline. Send us a message. Let us know how, if a trade's going down, if you want a second opinion, if you want a sounding board, we might say don't do it, and you still want to do it. That's fine. But at least you had, like, you know, a sounding board to kind of run your thoughts by. But yeah, look, it's not going to destroy you, but I think it put you in a little bit of a more difficult position. But yeah, I mean, if you have anything else, let me know. But to me, it's like you kind of have put yourself in a position where you have to follow what you mentioned, which is tank, and those 24 picks, 24 first need to be as valuable as possible for you really to get the most value out of what, you know, the direction you've taken. Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for submitting your team, honestly.
Yeah. All right. The next team we got here is from Jaamaar.
Jaamaar from afar.
And I think, if I know what team this is.
Yeah, this is his.
This is a team in one of our follower leagues, and he is freaking stacked. Okay, let's see. Power rankings. Okay, so the funny thing about this is Gluten Freak's team is number 1. But this is a super flex league, just so everyone is on the same page. Super flex, start 9, PPR, no tight end premium. Gluten Freak, if you guys know the golf league, he's got like how many first round picks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 24 firsts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 25 first, a bajillion seconds, and he's trying to get my first round picks off of me, and I don't want to really give them to him.
What's so funny is that even if you put players only, Gluten Freak is not the worst team. It's me. Even without the picks.
Oh no.
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
that is pretty sad. That is pretty sad. It happens. It happens.
It happens.
You can see your boy here, number 2. Look at that squad. Pat Mahomes, Justin Fields, Ken Walker, Dobbins, Rashawn Evans, CDT, Jahan, Jameson, Sky, and Njoku. 2 first-round picks in 2024. I mean, we're working on something on the short game. Don't Don't rule us out. But
in the short game,
this is team 3 here. This is Jaamaar from afar. And when I say he's built a dynasty, I mean, this is the definition of a dynasty. He has, I know this team, maybe it's a flex because this is the team that Jaamaar wanted on the stream. I'm not sure because there's not a whole lot that we could really offer. At quarterback, you've got Deshaun Watson, you've got Tua, you've got Jordan Love, you've got CJ Stroud. I know CJ Stroud is on his taxi. I mean, you've got enough at the quarterback spot. You're great. If anything, this is probably the definition of a hold at the quarterbacks. But if I had this quarterback room, I'm waiting to see what Jordan Love does. If he does great in the first 5 weeks, maybe I hold on to him. Maybe I get a ridiculous offer. We're waiting to see what CJ Stroud looks like. We're waiting to see Tua recover his form with all those weapons around him. And we're waiting to see Deshaun Watson, again, get back to that form that he had before, the whole massage scandal. So it's a definition of a hold at the quarterback spot, in my opinion.
No doubt. No doubt.
Then at the running back spot, we've got Gibbs, Etienne, Jacobs, Sanders, Rashad White, Antonio Gibson, Tank Bigsby. I mean, we're deep. We're deep. Then at the wide receiver spot, we've got Waddle, Smith, JSN, Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, Mike Williams, Marvin Mims, and Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson doesn't even belong with the rest of these players. Your entire squad is looking down on Van Jefferson as if he is a peasant. What are you doing here, bro? Who invited you? Who invited you to the party? Are you a +1? Are you someone's +1? And then at the tight end spot, you've got TJ Hawkinson, Pat Fryermuth, and Michael Mayer. Do you have future picks? No, not many. But you are stacked beyond belief.
The 26 first.
Yeah, true.
3 years.
You are stacked beyond belief. There's no reason to change any strategy outside of competing. There's no reason.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, there's nothing else we can say. Your every single position is strong. Every single player is how about this? Every single player is strong and youthful. I think the oldest person on your team is probably Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
That you're truly gonna be starting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Deshaun Watson, was he 28 years old?
27, 28, is it? Yeah.
Everyone else is below that, and you are competing even with a third quarterback in CJ Stroud. You still have Jordan Love that you're probably gonna sell later.
Yeah.
You have a lot of young pieces. So you're chilling. You're chilling at the moment.
All I can say is congratulations. I mean, I remember us live streaming this league in the rookie draft and just being like, oh wow, Jaamaar is another pick. Oh wow, Jamar's got CJ Stroud's on his taxi squad. I mean, congratulations. Yeah. You did fantastic.
You played yourself.
It looks like it'll be me, and let's look at players only. Who's going to be competing in this league? It'll be me here. It'll be you. And it'll be King Tiz. So really, it'll be all of us competing. And I wouldn't put Surge outside of it. I wouldn't put 4th round God outside of it. He'll definitely be competing. Look at that team. But yeah, I mean the best advice I can give you is compete.
Keep doing your thing, brother.
You have done all of the hard work to build the dynasty. Now relish in it,
Yeah, you're killing it, man. Appreciate you, and I hope you lose.
Yeah, I hope I see you in the final at least. Let's see. All right, we will move on to the next team. Jaamaar, thank you for the support, man. You've been supporting us over on Patreon, now on Flock Fantasy, where we moved to, so we really appreciate you. If you guys want to know how to get your dynasty team graded on this show, it's quite simple, okay? If you want your team graded, all you need to do is use our code LAND, LAND, when signing up at flockfantasy.com/land. I just put a direct link in the chat. When you choose that Mother Flocker tier and you make a payment, you're good to go. You will have one of your dynasty teams graded by us. Not only that, you will also unlock the Fantasy Hotline, which is a personalized DM for advice. You'll unlock our Dynasty Trade Show, where every week you'll have your trades on our weekly show. You'll unlock everyone's articles. You'll unlock everyone's rankings, one quarterback, superflex, best ball, redraft, everyone's draft guides on the site, and more. So If you do want your team reviewed, you know how to go about doing that now. But let's go ahead and move on to the next team here. Jaamaar, thank you so much, my man. The next team that we're looking at is from Dynastyfootball35, and I believe he sent us a different link.
He doesn't. I just opened the link. I mean, open the link as well, but I don't think that shows anything.
No? Okay.
It shows every single move, every single trade. Oh, well.
Okay, hold on.
It probably does show the team, but like I just don't know which team is his.
Okay, give me a second.
Actually, here. It does show the team, and there's different, like it says Seattle, Dallas, Philly, Miami, Buffalo. So let me just see and read his context and see if there is something.
Okay, so
his team is Buffalo. He sent a screenshot of his team.
Yeah, his team is Buffalo. So it looks like they kind of like are getting a little NFL franchise kind of going here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have his team here. I believe he said that this is not on Sleeper or my fantasy league. So
yeah, I think it's on the NFL app.
We're gonna be looking at this all together. But let's get some context here. He says, "Here's my team as of now. I'm hurting by the bye week. It's a 16-team, 1 quarterback, start 9 with a total of 16 bench spots. Took this over as an orphan last year. Currently trying to trade Gibson or Sanders. Thank you all so much for all you do. I'll use my development to practice for when it's time for me to be called up to all your leagues." Okay, so firstly, let's talk about bye weeks in Dynasty. Because I do remember he sent us a couple deals that he was talking about. And the reason he was pursuing them wasn't necessarily because of value, but it was because of trying to cover off bye weeks. Yeah. A lot of people will be transitioning from playing your standard redraft league, and they come into Dynasty and they look at their team, you know, because in your redraft league, you look at your bye weeks. Where am I going to be struggling? Where will I be in a tough spot? In Dynasty, don't make
it doesn't
bye weeks a big deal. You do not want to be trading to cover off a bye week. If your goal is to cover off bye weeks and make sure you're good, you will lose value. Absolutely. You will, because someone in your league will be aware that it's not something that you need to worry about as much, and they will take advantage. They'll screw themselves out of a bye week just to get a stronger team long term. So in case that's helpful to anyone, just don't do that.
By the way, bye weeks change every single year. So if you plan for bye weeks and things happen like you just don't understand, like it's not really gonna mean anything. Maybe the year after, depending on if you're looking at a stack or if you're looking at
you could be in the same spot next year.
All my 3 wide receivers have the same bye week this year, but next year they could all have different.
Yeah,
all be different, right? So
what you end up doing is you'll end up finding people in your league who are like, I know this guy's a starter, but why don't I give you like 2 backups who are available on that day, and then you'll be able to fill your roster up, right? Like there's typically never a scenario in which you get good value trying to cover bye weeks in Dynasty, so don't worry about that. But the format he mentioned, 6-team, 1 quarterback. 16-team, 1 quarterback. I will say in a 16-team league, to have 16 bench spots, that is a lot of players. Let me do this math real quick. So everyone starts 9, right? That's 9 times 16. That's 144. And then everyone has 16 bench spots. So you guys are rolling about 400 players deep.
That is wild.
400 players deep in this format, meaning I assume the waiver wire is completely dead. The waiver wire is like Blockbuster a decade after Netflix. There's nothing there. So let's just start at the quarterback spot here. Okay. Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Gardner Minshew, Sam Ellinger, and then Josh Allen. So pretty good at the quarterback spot, if we're honest.
Obviously Daniel Jones, Josh Allen are going to be your pillars there without a doubt. So I think it's a good play.
Yeah.
A good team so far. I mean, good quarterback room, you know.
Yeah. At the running back spot, you've got James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, Snell, Haskins, Abdullah, Warren. I will say out of those 4, outside of Dobbins and Cook, these guys, Warren has the most value right now. He is the
like to sell high. At
no. I wouldn't sell him high.
Okay.
What I'm inferring is that he will have more value in season than people realize.
Right.
But let's keep going, then we'll have a conversation about that.
Worries,
I'm curious why like Watson's over here and Olave's over here, and why like Allen and Jones are far apart. But we've got Christian Watson,
Right.
we've got Gabe Davis, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and then at the tight end spot, really Dawson Knox is our only tight end. Defense, we have the Browns and the Commanders. So, look, it's important to remember that it's a 16-team league, right? Inevitably, there will be a position on your team that is weak. That's just going to be the case, right? You're not going to have a 16-team league and just have a stacked team. If you are, then it's pretty much over. What I'll say, Badake, is the area I see an opportunity to sell, and I know it's one quarterback, would maybe be Daniel Jones.
Right.
Because
we can look through the teams. Hold on.
We can look through the teams, but just quickly, like James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, and Jalen Warren, those are the three running backs I really like on this team. I don't know that you want to sell any of those guys right now.
No, you don't.
None seem like an obvious sell high. And in this format, Olave, Wilson, and Watson, you don't move those guys. Certainly not in a 16-team league. That is your pillar. That's where you're going to hopefully make your money. What you could hopefully do, maybe, is what tight end could we upgrade to with Daniel Jones? That's my mind here. That's how I would be proceeding.
Okay, well, if that's the move, then let's look for a tight end here.
He does have a first from Seattle and a second from Denver in 2024.
I'm just trying to look
trying to figure out what these are over here. Maybe this is this year's pick.
I think it is.
So you mentioned I mentioned he has a first from Seattle in 2024. Seattle's team, Dak Prescott's their starter. They've got Stevenson, Henry, Lamb, Waller. So, like, they're not a bad team, but, again, it's a 16-team format. So why don't we find a team that needs a quarterback, Badake?
I think I might have found one. Actually, he doesn't necessarily need a quarterback, and I don't know if he wants that.
Miami could make sense. Keep track of this. Miami. Let's look at Miami.
Miami doesn't have any tight ends to give. That's the problem.
That is tough. Okay. Then keeping track, San Francisco. Maybe we can look at.
SF4.
We could look at Pittsburgh.
I think Minnesota could be one, but he already has two quarterbacks. I mean, if he wants a quarterback with a contract, Tua and Gino don't have a long-term 4-year contracts.
Sure.
Maybe Tua does get that this year. Yeah, it's a bit tough with some of these teams that don't have tight ends, and it doesn't look like they have done their rookie drafts either.
Yes,
which means that you could potentially go out and draft a tight end, and I'm assuming the picks. Okay, yeah, 2023 picks. He has a 3rd round pick, so normally the 3rd round is not sexy whatsoever. Well, in a 16-man league,
this is the 34th overall pick, so you have to keep in mind that is so like 25 would be the 301 in a 12 format in a 12 team, right? So that's
you can sneak in like a Laporta depending on how your drafts go, because Laporta has been falling to the late second.
This is like in a 12 team format. This is like the 311. I don't think you're getting Laporta, especially not in a one quarterback league.
You're right. Maybe I was reading that wrong.
You're maybe getting Luke Shoemaker. You're maybe getting,
Musgrave. Maybe not too. Still too.
Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
a
tough one.
With these two picks here, what tight end is there? Is it Tucker Kraft? Maybe, hopefully. Is it Luke Shoemaker? Maybe, hopefully.
Can you use both of those picks? Both of your thirds just to move up to get someone like I don't know if you would want to do this to move up to try and get a Musgrave, to try and get a Laporta. Do you give a second maybe next year
I wouldn't move picks next year, but I would agree with that strategy because think about it. Like you and I are talking about how even the 4th round in a 12-man, typically those players don't work out. If we're in a 16-team league and like honestly, even from pick 34 onwards, it's unlikely that any of these players are going to make a big impact for you. I don't know how your league is looking, but I would honestly package all of these picks to get inside the top 15 to 20. I would give every single one of these picks away to get inside that top 15 and 20 to just secure a tight end long term. In this format, it's much more, I would say, quality over like just, okay, do I get Bryce Ford Wheaton here with my first pick? You know, like it's you're
right.
You're unlikely to really make any sort of impact with. I'll say this: you might make an impact with these 2 picks, but pick 61 to 72, you will. I promise you, you will not find a player there that will make an impact for your dynasty team. I just promise you, it's not going to happen. Joseph says, so that is my team. It's pick for pick and player for player, unfortunately.
Okay.
Meaning you can't make trades?
Meaning if he does make a trade, he has to make a trade. So if he's going to trade his 3rd round 34th pick, he has to trade it for a pick. It can't be a player. That's
yeah, but can we package, Joseph, so this is your team. Can we package these picks and move up to a higher spot or no? Let us know, clarify. But look, we'll wait for confirmation there. Again, with this format, I think your running backs are in a really good spot for a 16 team. The fact that you'll have at least 2 to start. I think your wide receivers are in a really good spot considering it's a 16 team league. I think your quarterback's in a fantastic spot. Really, tight end is what you're struggling with. He says, so I would have to trade those 5 picks for 5 other picks. What?
Right.
Why? I mean, that doesn't make sense in any scenario. Why would you need to do that? It looks like this league is trying to be like realistic like the NFL. That's not realistic in the NFL. Why do you have to trade 5 picks for 5 picks? I mean, that is going to strap everyone to what sort of strategy they can do.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, I mean, it's tough now. It's tough to really envision how to make that trade now, personally, especially with you just have to try and give 2 of those picks and try to move up.
He says I've been asking that since I've joined. So to clarify, Joseph, if we wanted to use Daniel Jones to maybe get a tight end, are you saying you have to move a quarterback for a quarterback? Or can we move Daniel Jones for a tight end? And now that we know you can only move 4 picks in the same amount, you probably can't move up. Our only option is to hope that one of those tight ends fall here, or to move Daniel Jones. We'll wait for Joseph there, but San Francisco, you're not going to get Kittle for Daniel Jones in a 1 quarterback format. There was another team like Pittsburgh. What do they have? They have Pat Frymuth. I mean, their team name is Pittsburgh. They have Kenny Pickett. They're probably not going to move Daniel Jones for.
No. Oh man, I mean,
would you do this, Badake? This team, Minnesota, he has Tua, Geno, so he doesn't need quarterback. But could you maybe look at getting Ingram or Goddard? More likely Ingram or even Dulcich. This is if you can trade a quarterback for a tight end, this is the team to start a conversation with. Hey man, do you want Daniel Jones? I can give you, maybe my. Again, see, I don't even know if you can do this kind of stuff, but like, could you add Daniel Jones and like all of these picks, or will you then have to add more picks from his side? Is that how it works?
So I can trade Jones for any player. Yeah.
Right, but so let's say we wanted to package Daniel Jones and all these picks and then go to Minnesota here and try and get one of these 3 tight ends. Will we have to accumulate 3 of their picks as well?
Yes, you would. So the way I'm seeing this...
What are you supposed to do in this league then?
So the way I'm seeing this is that if he wants to make this trade, this is how I'm going to envision this. Hypothetically, it may not be even, but hypothetically, you send Adam Troutman and you send you send Adam Troutman, you get Evan Ingram, and you send all of your picks, and you send all of your 4th round picks.
You can't. Then you have to add picks from him, and his picks are more valuable, so that won't work.
His picks are more valuable. Yeah, so it doesn't work, but that's how it works. So like if his picks were more valuable than his in the later rounds, like if he had two 4th round picks that were earlier than his 4th round picks,
sure,
then you can do that, and then that would work.
Joseph, I know you're in the chat who we're looking at this team with. Can I ask, do trades happen very often in this league? I would imagine it's very difficult, if not impossible. It's already difficult to trade in a normal Dynasty league. But to have all these rules in place, I wonder how many trades actually go down in this league. I mean, it feels like this league is trying to be realistic like the NFL, but to have to make picks match up, every pick for every pick, that's not realistic like the NFL.
I think this could be another team. I think it can be. I think it's Jacksonville. It's not sexy whatsoever, but like when you're projecting in a 60-man league, this could be good. What if you go and get a Chig?
Okay, Chig's a great option. Yeah.
So and that he has a lot of he's never gonna start Chig over TJ, right?
Sure.
So what if we go get a Chig? You have a 4th round pick. You have the 461. Fuck.
So here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to package Daniel Jones. Okay? You're going to have to package Daniel Jones and give him your 4th. Honestly, package Daniel Jones and one of these 3rds.
Exactly.
And send that to Jacksonville for Chigakonkwo and his 5th. Agreed?
Yeah. I mean, it can even be... I think it can even be simpler. Okay. Maybe I'm still overthinking it, but like, just so you can give him value. Hey, bro, you want both of my 3rds? I'll give you both of my 3rds, and give me whatever pick you want. Give me your 4th and your 5th, and I'll give me Chig, and I'll give you Adam Troutman. Like you're gonna move up anyway.
So let's agree though. Start with what we first said, and then what you're saying. I think we both agree. Great counter, if he gets interested.
Just I'm happy to throw in both of my 3rds because once again, 16-man league. What are we really looking at?
That's equivalent to the 311, so it's not irrelevant, right? But it's worth moving if the right players out there.
It's worth moving, especially if we hope for a Chig, especially how big we are.
Yeah.
How big we're looking for, how big we're projecting him to go right this year. And he's never going to start him in this scenario. I'm trying to look at if there's another one.
Yeah, I mean that is one deal that you can try. The other deal would, I mean, how about you try and do that deal for Dulcich? What if you sent Daniel Jones and let's say pick 38, and you go to this team and you ask for Dulcich and get back his 5th. That's another move that you could potentially make.
Yeah.
So look,
that's about it, man. You can't really.
I will say, I would, if I was in your league, Joseph, I would be doing everything I can to change these rules, because it's almost like whoever the commish is kind of decided, let's strap trades as much as possible, or maybe their idea was to try and make it realistic. But it's not. It ended up being less realistic than the NFL. At the end of the day, it's less realistic than real dynasty leagues. So I would be doing everything I can to get into the commission's ear, do it in a kind way. Hey, I just feel like in other leagues that I'm in, trading is much more easier because and it's one of the best parts of Dynasty. Is there anything we can do maybe to kind of tinkle with these rules? Is probably a better way to say that.
Maybe do a suggestion, have talk to other people first and be like, yo, how do you feel about like the trade rules? Like, do you like maybe try and get everyone on your side first?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Like just to get an understanding of what people think. You like these trade rules? Do you think we can trade in a different way? See how everyone feels before you send that big message. Yeah.
I will say, if there's one move that you can make, it's the Chig one. Chig is the money maker. And also, I wonder if you can you send a player for a pick 1-for-1, or does it have to be picks? I don't know, but
yeah,
if you can somehow even get like a Jake Ferguson and just like hope that he ends up being the starter, you know.
I just feel like there's so many tight ends missing. Am I wrong? I was looking for like a Dalton
That's because
Schultz.
it's a 16-team league, though.
Like, where is like a Schultz? I've been trying to find him.
You could also maybe target Hurst. Just a couple other names before we move on. Hurst, you could target. Geez.
But they go Dalton Schultz.
It's tough out here.
Like Jelani Woods, Hunter Henry.
You could target like break glass. Answer is Tyler Conklin. For like, could you send? Because he'll be the starter for the Jets. Can you send like your fifth round pick for Tyler Conklin? Maybe that guy doesn't need him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just trying to like break glass options here.
Yeah.
Irv Smith to the guy who has Mark Andrews.
True.
But look, that Chig deal is the best deal that we could have whipped up for you. The one that Badake mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Hey, I mean, other than that, I think it's unlucky that your league is doing that. And overall, I mean, good foundation, good quarterbacks, good running backs, and especially in a 16-man league. Your wide receivers are phenomenal. Olave, Wilson, with Christian Watson. I think that's a really good start off the rip, personally. Yeah. And then obviously your tight end room, that's the one that you kind of have to work on. But I think if you make those moves that we kind of mentioned, you'll be fine. If
you're Joseph and you were watching the draft, that pick just killed you. When Kincaid went to the Bills, you're like, oh, damn it. I don't 100%. Have a starting tight end anymore.
And I would say if you can't, I would say with these picks, personally, obviously you go best player available, but I'm looking for wide receivers. You know, I mean, your wide receivers, even though you have the good foundation, maybe a Michael Wilson falls to you, maybe an Xavier
probably not anymore, but
a Tank Dell, you know, a Puka Nuka. You're looking at these guys that can help you in these later rounds because, once again, you have Olave, Wilson, Christian Watson. Cole Beasley's not on the team. T.Y. Hilton is not on the team. Jarvis Landry is not on the team. You know, you do have Gabe Davis there as well. I could be wrong. Maybe Cole might be on the team, but I might be looking at obviously best player available or wide receivers that can help your depth at the wide receiver room just in case.
I would agree. He says, I had mixed emotions because it was great because Buffalo's my favorite team, but it definitely hurt my fantasy team for sure. Yeah, I hear that. He said he's the newest member. He was trying to change the rules, but it got outvoted by 4. So that's tough. I wonder, with as much respect as possible, I wonder why people like those rules. I'm trying to understand what benefit it is to them to have those sort of rules in structure and in place. But look, like Badake said, quarterbacks, great. Running backs, great. I wouldn't sell Warren. I wouldn't sell Cook. I wouldn't sell Dobbins. They're all players I'm hesitant on Cook, but again, I don't think his value, it's evened out. It's plateaued. Olave, Wilson, Watson, those are your pillars. Let's just try and get that tight end sorted. But you know, the good news is that worst case scenario, you do have a first round pick next year from Seattle. I wouldn't be moving that pick, especially in this format, because you got to get something of value on this team.
Yeah, Seattle's team it's honestly not. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing either.
It's all going to come down to, is Derrick Henry anymore? Because outside of CeeDee Lamb, there's not a wide receiver that you could start in a normal format.
Yeah,
and then is Darren Waller. But it could end up being a really good pick.
It could.
So, overall, well done. And good luck. Thanks for the support. And as always, the hotline is open whenever you want to ask us a question. All right, we got Gators Team next. I know that he has sent a...
sleeper ID?
Yes.
All right, let's see what we got here. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for submitting. Gator fan, long time follower.
Yes,
supporter.
OG.
All right, so we have the league here, 10-man league. Let's look at that image that he sent, just to see who he has on his team. Looks like he has Herbert, Derrick Henry. Okay.
This is one of our leagues.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it a 10-man league?
It says 12.
Oh, okay. I guess he put in the description he was like 10-man, so I was confused.
Did he put the wrong sleeper ID maybe?
Maybe he did.
Okay.
Hold on, let's just double check what his team name is.
I think he put the wrong sleeper ID.
I think GatorFan should be with us though.
Yeah, why don't we go to the next team, and I'm gonna message him.
There's no next team. He is the next team.
Oh, he's the last team on for today. Okay.
Yeah, he is the last team. GatorFan. So if you're with us, Ben, I'm not sure. Maybe Zach can kind of walk you through how to get that sleeper ID. Let me see. Is this a redraft league? Maybe is this one of our redraft leagues? Maybe I'm tripping.
No, it wouldn't be one of our redraft
No, it's
leagues.
full PPR, 4-point passing touchdown, non-tight end. Okay, Blaze. Non-tight end premium. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Well,
so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna message him, and I'll try and take screenshots of this and upload it to the Google Drive. Worst case scenario, because we can't really see it too well on desktop given the current format. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll look at the bench.
2 wide receivers, 2 flex spots, kicker and defense. And this is a 1 quarterback league. It's not super flex. 4 passing point touchdown. Okay. As Zach is doing that, we'll wait. Let me see what I can.
Okay, I'm gonna upload these screenshots, and then we'll just work with what we got here.
Yeah, and if he doesn't send the ID, it's okay. We'll obviously we can grade his team, which should be good.
Yeah. Joseph, if you're still watching, man, definitely appreciate you supporting. Thank you so much, and good on you for trying to take on this venture in that league. I probably would have given up. I probably would have been like, all right, I don't understand this. I'm out. Let's see. Did we get?
He sent a new one, so let's see if that worked.
He did. Okay.
Let's see if that works here. Okay, change league. Should be Justin Herbert. Okay, it's a 10-man league.
We got the right one.
It says Tebow fan. Yep, we got the right one.
All right, we're cooking with gas now.
Here we go. And he is the #1 team. So shout out to Tebow over here dominating this league.
So a little context: full PPR, 4-point passing touchdowns, not tight end premium, lost in the championship last year. Okay, so he lost in the championship last year. So like you mentioned, 10-team, 1 quarterback, start 8. That's important to note. We've got Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Matt Corral. I mean, I'll just say quickly, depending on how big your bench is, you probably don't really need Matt Corral anymore. I'm not even sure. Like, if Bryce Young were to get injured this year, I think Andy Dalton plays.
Especially in a 1 quarterback league, you're never going to start him even with Trevor Lawrence. Unless they all get hurt, then unlucky. Yeah. But that's a rare occasion. Here's
what I'll say. You don't have to drop Corral. Definitely don't have to. It depends on how big your benches are, where it looks pretty deep, actually. Let me see how many bench spots it is, because I did take those screenshots.
I'll tell you right now, actually, it is a pretty deep team. I mean, I see, oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3.
It's a 15 bench, but here's the thing: the taxi spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 taxi spots.
Okay.
So overall, really, the bench we're looking at like 22 for 20. Okay, so here's the thing: 22 bench spots realistically for a 10-team, 1 quarterback league.
There's no waiver wire in there.
What does the waiver wire even look like here?
There's none.
Maybe you do hold Matt Corral. That's why I feel like sometimes people's benches are too big. But he's great at quarterback. Do you want to talk us through running backs?
Yeah, you get a quarterback, running backs. I mean, another phenomenal position. Taylor, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, Zach Charbonnet, Alexander Madison, Big O Roscoe. And I think all those guys somehow are going to be of value this year. Now,
Yeah.
in a dynasty perspective, obviously it looks like right now your long-term answers are going to be Jonathan Taylor, Tony Pollard at the moment, and then I would say Zach Charbonnet. So
Yeah, just
I'm
squeeze as much of Eckler and
exactly.
Henry as you can get out until you don't need to trade them really in this
No,
format.
you don't need to, and you're not going to trade Austin Eckler. I don't trade for him. You could be surprised if someone gives you a haul. Derrick Henry, like Zach said, you squeeze as much out of him, um,
Yeah,
until he kind of
I will.
he runs off the wheels there.
I'll say, Badake, like it's kind of a damn shame that this is only start 8, given how good this team is.
I think it should
Um,
be. Yeah, I think this is something that you can also kind of mention, on
let's
your
try and get an extra flex. Hey,
extra flex. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you can even throw another wide receiver and a flex spot with how deep your benches are.
yeah,
If
why
you
are our
have
benches so deep if we're
if your
starting
benches
8?
are exactly, if your benches are so deep, maybe you can bolster that up and do, once again, 3 wide receivers, 3 flex spots, and you're still gonna have enough players at that spot, and that's what makes it difficult. And it makes sense. Maybe I used to see Tebow last year be like, should I start DK Metcalf or Debo Samuel? It's like, kind of got to start both of them.
Yeah,
And that this may be the team that he was always asking about,
yeah.
because it's difficult. There's going to be times where like only start 8. You can make that so much simpler if you were to expand your roster or your starting roster.
So looking at the wide receiver spot, we've got Devonta Smith, Metcalf, Debo, Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers, Tony, Mike Williams, Dobbs. I mean, it's a really, really good wide receiver room. Earlier we did mention you don't really need to move Eckler or Derrick Henry, but honestly, I'm a little bit more intrigued because Kyle Pitts, you're fine. Here's the 2 things I would suggest trying to try out. Basically, I wonder if really Henry is the one that I'm more intrigued to move, but I wouldn't be opposed to moving Eckler. Looking at how just we're so deep, and we can only start 2 running backs and then our flex spots, right? So I would be open to using Eckler or Henry to either improve my tight end or my wide receiver room. You don't need an extra tight end behind Kyle Pitts, but it doesn't help with this. It doesn't hurt with this format, right? I mean, there's a league that I'm in where I have Travis Kelce and I have Kyle Pitts. Hey, whenever Pitts decides to become Kyle Pitts, then maybe Travis Kelce takes the sideline and he, the twilight of his career, right? So I'm just wondering what sort of team has potentially running back needs that we might be able to ask some questions to.
I mean, it's a 10-man league. It's a bit difficult here to be completely
That's true.
honest.
That's fair.
Um,
But I
mean,
will say a team that automatically comes to mind is Black Hammer. Black Hammer has Javonte Williams, Tank Bigsby, Tyler Algier, Zach Evans. I mean, they don't really have a starting running back to start the year. We don't even know when Javonte will be back. So can I send them Austin Eckler and get Drake London? Can I send them Austin Eckler and get T. Higgins?
Right.
Can I send them Derrick Henry and get one of those 2 names? Like, I would start with Derrick Henry. Right? Like, just
I hear you.
give me a little bit more of beef in this wide receiver room, because I know that if I lose Eckler or Henry, my running back room is going to be just fine. We're going to be totally okay. I mean, Alexander Madison could start. Rashawn could be the starter by the end of the season for the Bears. So you're looking at potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starting running backs. At worst, you have 4, right? At absolute worst.
Yeah.
So that would be a move that I would potentially look at. Eckler, Henry. Can I beef up this wide receiver room at all? Is it possible for me to do that? I will say,
I hear you.
Outside of him, most teams are pretty strong at running back, or at least like they feel like they probably wouldn't be moving too much to acquire a running back.
I wonder how your league is, Gator fan, because if this is a league that maybe it's not too many people that really understanding the values of Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, or like their lifespan in a running back room, can you take advantage of that? Can you pivot to a younger running back? Someone, like, for example, can I send Austin Eckler hypothetically in a second to get Breece Hall back? and I'm happy to wait on Breece Hall, who is going to,
Sure, that's a good idea.
help me in the long run, right? Because he's going to be coming back and being better. And who has Breece Hall right now? Because he might be struggling on his team. I'm trying to find him. So Breece Hall, he has Travis Etienne, James Conner, Rashad Penny. So I mean, at the moment,
chilling.
yeah, he's chilling. But you can definitely, that's somebody I would be targeting personally.
I'll just throw out one more idea with kind of on track with what I was talking about with Eckler and Henry. Could you potentially move Derrick Henry for, let's say, a Jerry Jeudy? I know that sounds risky, but I would do that 10 times out of 10 in Dynasty. And we do believe that Jerry Jeudy is about to have a breakout year here with Sean Payton. That is one other move I would look at. Look, outside of that, I want to get another tight end on the roster. It doesn't need to be a star at all, but let's look at some teams that have like a lot of tight ends. Like
all of them have a lot of.
This dude has Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, Evan Ingram. Surely we can get a tight end from someone on the cheap. Like David Njoku, even Irv Smith. Irv Smith is a fourth tight end on Team 3. You don't need to be sending much, if anything. Like send freaking DJ Chark,
I hear you.
a KJ Osborne for some of these names. Can you even get like a Tucker Kraft, a Hayden Hurst? I just want like something behind there where if Kyle Pitts does get injured, which we don't want to happen, but if he does get injured, you don't want to be in a position where the entire league knows you need a tight end.
I would even say Team 9. Well, Team 9, I mean, he has TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert, Greg Dulcich. My goodness. But at the same time, you have Kyle Pitts. So it's going to be a bit difficult to like go week in and week out to start or not start one of these guys.
Can you grab maybe Greg? Whatever tight end he doesn't want, can you grab him and send something on the low, because he obviously doesn't need that. But
I agree.
Here's what I'll say: like what we said at the very beginning, you don't need to make a single move on this team. You don't need to do anything. There are just certain things that you could put into place to be ahead of the curve. Yes, people say I'm not selling Derrick Henry until he falls off. Well, guess what? In this team, if you don't technically need Derrick Henry in your starting lineup, given the depth that you have. If you don't sell him until he falls off, then you're fine with that, but you don't get any value.
Yeah, exactly.
He is a dead asset on your team at the end of the day. Every running back at some point does decline, even the great Derrick Henry. So, again, you don't need to make a single move. You're strong at every position. I would suggest maybe getting a little bit more firepower at the wide receiver spot, just one move and one cheap tight end. Outside of that, roll it back, roll the dice again, and you'll probably be in the championship with the squad.
Yeah, I think it's a good team. It's really strong. You don't have to make any other moves, and you're great. Honestly, this is a great team. It's a 10-man league. Great depth on both running backs and wide receivers. Like Zach said, try and build up your tight end room and see what happens.
Yeah. I saw your starting lineup there and your taxi Gator. But yeah, I would still like all the things that we mentioned. I would try to accomplish, but again, you don't have to make a single move with this team. Those are just a couple options that Badake and I would suggest to try and put yourself ahead of that curve.
Agreed.
In 2024, you have your first, you have your second, you have your third, you have your fourth. In 2025, you have your first, second, third. So it looks like you still have all your picks.
Yeah.
So you're still chilling with all of your picks. You somehow have this incredible team and still all those picks. I guess that's what happens in a 10-man. But yeah, at the end of the day, I imagine it's probably you versus like this second team here in the finals.
I'm assuming you lost to the second team that has Patrick Mahomes, Nick Chubb. I mean, if you think about it, Patrick Mahomes, Nick Chubb, Jamal Williams last year makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy had a good step up in the second half of the season. So did DJ Moore. So that made sense a lot. Amari Cooper, had a downfall, and then Mark Andrews was decent in the second half of the season. No, Evan Ingram, I think, was his winner there.
Yeah,
potentially. So
look, again, like in this format, do you need to do anything? No. Are there a couple moves that you can make to get ahead of the curve?
Absolutely.
In case Kyle Pitts get injured. let's try and get a really cheap tight end just to play, you know, backup role. In case Derrick Henry is at some point coming to his end, can we move him now for a Jerry Jeudy? Can we move him now for a Jordan Addison, to the guy who has Quentin Johnson and Jordan Addison? I mean, does he really want 3 rookie wide receivers? Maybe he does. You know, can you move him for a Brandon Ayuk? Can you move him for a Hollywood Brown?
Yeah. I mean, what about
Drake London, T. Higgins? We already mentioned.
A lot of rookies already drafted. I was like, what if they go pick up like Brendan Strange?
Off the waivers, yeah.
But
these waivers though, you're not going to have.
He's on a team. I mean, Jake Ferguson's on the team. Brendan Strange is on the team. All these players that you don't expect. I wonder who's available. Send us a screenshot later on if you like. But who's available on your waiver wise? We can definitely talk about it.
On his taxi, I see he's got Chris Rodriguez, Deneric Prince, Matt Corral, Tyler Beatty, Cole Turner, Ty Chandler, Bryce Ford Wheaton. So still no tight end that you feel great about on the taxi squad there. And I don't think Brenton Strange is going to be available in this format where you have pretty much 22 bench spots, you know?
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
But yeah. I mean, look, you've got a very good team, Gator. Yeah. You could leave this team as currently constructed and you're absolutely in the playoffs, battling it out for a championship.
Agreed.
You can make a couple small little moves and just think about the future a little bit. Outside of that, you're great. Tight end. Best tight end. At least the tight end that I would want in Dynasty over anyone else. You've got an incredible wide receiver room. Could add one more piece there. You've got an incredible running back room. You've got Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you're chilling. You're absolutely chilling. It's a great team.
Yeah. I agree. Completely agree, man.
As always, the fantasy hotline is open.
Yeah, so just ask us any questions, and you know we'll definitely be there to help you in your time of need, especially during the season. So this is 4-point passing touchdowns as well, so I don't think that makes a little bit of a difference, but I mean your quarterbacks are set.
Yeah, it might give you a little bit of an edge over whoever has Lamar or A-Rich, for example.
Exactly.
But yeah,
that
should be pretty much it. But that is all the teams for today. Again, guys, if you do, we'll be live this time next week, probably doing this. If you want your team on this show this time next week, really simple. All you got to do is use our code LAND, LAND, at flockfantasy.com/land. If you sign up using our code, you'll get 30% off, and you will also unlock the fantasy hotline, roster submissions, Dynasty trade show, rankings, articles, and more. Choose that mother flocker tier. DM us on Discord. We'll get you set up. But outside of that, I think that should be good. Kami John says, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you.
All love, man. Thank you so much for everyone that comes through in the chat. Show love, even on, you know, what was over there? Sunday night?
Yeah.
So I hope you had a good weekend and have a better start to the week. On Monday.
Yeah, Trialva is asking about the Josh Downs video. I did release that Josh Downs video last week. Yeah. I know I had been talking to you guys about that. I'll put the link to it in the chat. We were a little sneaky with the title. We said, sell this rookie high, right? So that's why you might not have realized. But that was the Josh Downs video. So go watch that if you guys haven't seen it yet. But yeah, some pretty I was expecting a lot of pushback. For the most part, it was really, really respectful. So that was awesome. Yeah. But I think that's it. So drop a like on your way out if you have yet to drop a like. And DM us with any questions on how to sign up to the site. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night on this channel. We've got a live stream, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
A real rookie draft tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Real rookie draft.
So stay tuned. All love, y'all.
All love, guys.